Hello everyone, Mono here, and today I'm going to be doing a VOD review for Boobusty. Now, Boobusty is one of my former junglers here. He's in Diamond 5, and when I first started coaching him, he was a Plat. He was like Plat 2 or floating around Plat, having a really hard time getting to Diamond, and he can only make Kindred. And within the past year that I've coached him, he's gone up to all the way to Diamond 4 and has made several different champions, and overall he's a very adaptable jungler, and he's also a great guy. So, Justin, hopefully you're not getting dunked by the hurricane right now in Texas, and hope you're all safe and all that good stuff. So today I'm going to be focusing two things about jungling. So first of all, I'm not going to be focusing much about Rek'Sai's Rek'Sai setup that much. This is all mostly going to be a VOD about counter jungling, tracking the enemy jungler, and also having presence and awareness on the map. Now, this game here, this is a Diamond 5 game Boo had. He didn't have the greatest teammates or best teammates to rely with, but a lot of this game, the reason why he lost, spoilers, the reason why he lost was because he didn't set this game up too well and didn't make the best decisions. So, we're going to be mostly going over counter jungling, or basically tracking the enemy jungler is like the first priority. Also, we'll be going over pathing routes and also having a general presence on the map and reading the map in general, not necessarily just looking at your camps that you're clearing. We'll only be going over just a few of the early skirmishes that he has, and I really want you guys at home, if you really want to get good at jungle or you want to improve, start taking notes on the points that I make on this thing. Just write down. It'll help you out later parts of the video. This is how you learn. So we're going to be starting with Boo, and the first thing I'm just going to mention is make sure you have information level 1. If you really want to be that proactive, crazy-ass jungler, you got to be that person. You got to pretend that you are a solo queue monster jungler right now. And that's kind of a weird thing to say because you're like, okay, well, what do I do to do that? Or what even is that? Basically, pretend right now you're the best jungler in the world. So, I don't know. KT Score comes to mind. Let's go NALCS. Let's go X-Smithy. You're X-Smithy right now. You're Svenskeren. You're Lyra. You're one of those fucking beast junglers that just goes and fucks everything up. All right, that's what I want. That's who I want you to pretend you're being right now. You are playing Rek'Sai into lanes that are fairly immobile. You have Lulu and Sivir bot lane that do pretty well into Tristana Thresh, but you have Katarina into Kassadin, which isn't a great matchup in my experience. And you also have Cho'Gath into Echo, and Cho'Gath kind of struggles into this matchup as well. You really want your team to scale into the later portions of the game, and personally, your matchup into Jarvan doesn't go great. You probably don't win the skirmishes early on too often, although if you go into a 2v2 situation, you might have a better shot. Basically, Rek'Sai nowadays isn't the champion that she used to be. You basically have to build damage on her in order for her to be effective, and you really have to be a huge threat on the map and in team fights in order to really do your job as well. She's no longer just a knockup bot like she used to be. So first thing I noticed you're doing, you guys are kind of dicking around and typing. I do this all the time. It's perfectly normal and natural for you to do, but if you really want to get better, if you really want to start winning more games and be a better player, just ignore whatever you guys are doing. You guys are this is good normally because usually Diamond 5 teams are so dysfunctional because they all hate each other, but you guys are at least being friendly. But I want you to be setting up try to gain information early on. I noticed you warded down here to see if they were going to invade because they have a Thresh. It's pretty normal for an invade to happen, but just in general, maybe try to get this ward deeper. Like, what if you got this ward way in their jungle? What if you got this ward over here, or like ward their red buff, or warded somewhere around here? You know, you could have done anything to improve. So just keep that in mind. Korean solo queue games, lots happen level 1 because they want to take control of the game. That's how you take control. You know where they start, but you can also figure out where they start after the clear happens. All right. So your early path here, and I'm going to try to kind of keep this at a somewhat quick pace. Your early path here is blue, raptors, red. I don't think this is a bad path necessarily. Like, I think it's pretty normal to do like a 3 camp then gank kind of path with Rek'Sai because she's a good ganker at level 3. I do think going blue wolves red is a more efficient route, number 1, because you can smite the wolves here and be healthier at red buff, and I think your smite might be also up at level at your 4th camp if you do plan on doing scuttle or raptors here, because you smite and it's on like a 40-second cooldown. If you smite it at wolves, you might have had it up for red, or you could have saved it for raptors next. Although it's not the biggest thing in the world, just little things. I think this path was a little bit healthier too, because you gotta get to raptors here. And Rek'Sai's good at clearing raptors. You could have gone a raptor start red. If you had an experience quit, you could have gone scuttle and then gone for a little 3 gank. But I don't think this is bad, but I just think there's things you could have done that are better. Something you need to be aware, though, during this game, all right? You're very locked into your camera is what I'm noticing here. So you're locked in, you're looking at the camp, you're moving. I'm not sure if you type something here. You know, you guys are talking about some weird shit or something. I don't care what it is. But top lane, notice how they're both skirmishing. They're both melees, so when they're fighting, they're going to be, like, on top of each other like that. And now you're going to see right here, Cho'Gath flashes because he almost died. I don't know if Echo flashed. I don't think he did. Actually, no, he didn't. I know he didn't. And so now you need to be aware of that. Cho'Gath, one, I don't think he needed to back. But he does burn his summoners and has to TP. So you're going to know, first of all, Cho'Gath is like classic gankable early champion. He has no mobility whatsoever. It's hard for him to stop any ganks. And he's going up against a Jarvan Echo. They're going to fuck him the whole entire game if they want to. So you need to be aware of that. I don't even know if you saw that happen, but right now you're just kind of looking at this. And even bot lane, you should maybe even like peep bot lane, see what's going on. And by the way, I just realized I forgot a point that I covered earlier. Where Jarvan started level 1. This is the easiest trick you can do in solo queue right now, is just see where they delay to lane, and you see bot lane show up late. That probably means they started red, considering Kassadin helped with raptors and top lane both showed equally, so you know that. Okay, so back here you can you're kind of able to predict Jarvan's route. So if you're clearing here, you guys have pretty equal clear speeds. I would argue you clear faster, but you see bot lane gets in a skirmish right now. Cho'Gath's blowing his flash. You need to be kind of aware of this when you're playing. And right now you can see Katarina's fighting too, and you do a good thing here. So you're kind of looking around the map. You see Kassadin's really pushed up. One, you maybe should have been checking if he had warded any of the side lanes now, but you just cleared at 3 minutes and he's kind of pushed up. And so you go for a good gank here. This is a mistake that ends up costing you quite a bit. And I say that because you totally did not need a flash, and you could have gotten even more if you gotten Kassadin's flash out. Because he goes in, gets ignited, and realizes he kind of lost this, and then you flash in and catch Shun Pose right as you go in. I think this is a mistake, mostly because you had your E up, and I understand why you don't want to E here, because you're not necessarily in range, but either A, E earlier so you get out there, or tunnel, like, kind of, so if you're, like, tunneling, whoops, hold up, Jesus, I don't know how to work this. So right here, if you're at this point here, which I agree, it's a really awkward spot, you could just kind of tunnel out this way, because you know he's going to, like, kind of flash, and if he does flash, then you follow up, and you can kill him pretty easily. I'm not saying this is, like, bad as in this is very costly, but it does cost you down the line, especially in the next series of plays, and I would just help her shove it out too. So now at this point you just ganked at level 3, you don't know where Jarvan is, you have no info. This is a really bad ward because it doesn't really do much in terms of where Jarvan is going to go out. In my experience, at least, I would at least put it deeper. You could see what camp he's at, or at least put it down. So you're just kind of doing it for the pixel brush, because like you could have put it here, or on the mini map you could have put it as blue, see if he's done that. Although it's probably likely he did his blue already at this point. unless he did a different jungle path. So you could have put it up here. You could have warded for Cho'Gath because he knows he has no flash, and that comes important later down the road because, you know, this is the game. And you see that Scuttle Crab has been taken by Jarvan, so you know, one, he's topside. You don't have any info on him, and he knows that you just ganked mid and you have no flash, or you should know. And you know bot lane doesn't have many summoners. So what you do, and I'm not entirely a big fan of what you did here. First of all, you tunneled across. Now, I don't think that's bad in the future, but you might need the tunnel later. It's only on a 9-second cooldown, so it's not a huge deal. But use that blast cone unless you plan on using it afterwards. You tunnel in now, and you still that ward is doing nothing in terms of work. Like, this ward is kind of a useless ward because not much is going on bot right now, and Katarina has her flash, so I don't think that's necessarily the best ward. I think this needs to be up more, up here, because something happens, and this is all like hindsight's 2020, shoulda, woulda, coulda stuff. And you're doing this camp here, you're doing this camp here. Now, you're kind of just locked into what's going on here. And I don't think that's good because when you're a jungler, the most important thing as a jungler is to be able to adapt to the entire situation that's going on around you. And also, these raptors that you're getting aren't going to make that much of a difference in terms of experience or gold. They'll give you like 50 gold. And as experience, they're just giving you just a little bit. Like, it's only giving you like 10%. And so if you're just watching Cho'Gath here, which you should be keeping an eye for, I think you should be ready for the counter gank here. Because look at the map right now, and look at all the gank possibilities Jarvan has. Jarvan hasn't ganked yet. You haven't seen him. You know he did Skull Crab, so he was somewhere topside. And right now, there's nothing going on bot lane. There's nothing going around mid lane. So out of the process of elimination, we know that he's probably going to gank top. One, because Cho'Gath doesn't have flash, Echo does. And two, he's Cho'Gath, super gankable, and he's pushed up with no vision. You have tons of stuff to work with here, and you are just slowly taking away Krugs. Now you see on your map, and you should be looking, this is something you should be checking. You could check it by looking here, or just clicking on the minimap, anything. Now Echo's fighting, and then boom, Jarvan shows up. He came through the tri-brush, and now you see, and now you go. And this is something I remember dealing with when you played on our team, or at least like I remember a problem that kept occurring. Whoops, turn the volume on. Jesus, why does it do that? Anyways, like now you see him, and now you're like, oh, well, maybe I can come and get a play on him. But like the play's already gone. Like the advantage or the window of advantage that you had is completely disappeared at this point. And so now you come up and you're like, ooh, I might be able to gank him because he's really low on HP. And you ping that you don't have flash. If you had flash, that's something you could have gone for. And that's where wasting your flash for something where you don't need to necessarily use it is extremely important. So you kind of come up here, you go along the wall, you take 2 of the Echo stacks, and then you back off. And I don't like what you're doing here at all, because I think it's okay to take maybe like 2 of these and back up, but now you're just kind of putting Cho'Gath further. The wave's pushing into him, and you're like kind of evening it out. You shouldn't be touching this. Now it's almost going, yeah, now you've got it, so it's pushing towards Echo. Now your top laner's kind of fucked, because now he can't get this farm, and you missed that. You made him miss at least like 10 creeps. Now you need to be checking what's Jarvan's next move, because he just got off a successful gank, so he's got options. And you're not, I don't think you necessarily check this, and this is something super important and super easy to do if you get into the habit of it. All right, Jarvan's level 3, or last time you saw him like 30 seconds ago, not even, he was level 3. He's got 7 CS now, and you check the tab menu very briefly. You don't, I don't think you looked at something else. He's got 7 CS. You know he started red because bot lane leashed him, or at least you think you do. Shit, I'm trying to get it on the tab menu. And so if he started red and he only has 7, you know automatically he didn't go to Raptors. Alright? So he probably went red, and then after red he did Wolves, which is 3, so now he would have 4 CS at level 2. And then he did blue because you saw the blue buff, so that's 5. You saw Scuttle, that's 6. And so the only thing that's left is The only thing that's left is Grom. So you know his whole blue side jungle is completely taken. So you know that his next move is going to be... so like if this was his jungle route and he went Wolves and then blue and then Gromp and you ganked mid during that time and then he did Scuttle Crabbed and then while you were going to do Krugs, he went in and ganked and executed here. So his next move on the map is probably going to be something bot side. And if he started red, he's probably not going to go straight to Krugs unless that's like a good option. But I think Raptors or he's looking to gank mid is his next move because he's probably going to either try to counter gank you or he's going to try to see if he can prevent Katarina from killing Kassadin and turn it around. Those are his options right now, and you really need to be more conscious of considering that. And that's kind of hard to do in the middle of the game, count up, add up which camps he had. Sometimes he takes a lane CS, and it doesn't work like that, but this is where your next move needs to be. I like how you didn't use the Blast Cone here. I don't know if you were looking to see if Kassadin set up any vision, but Cat wasn't in lane. So this gank right here isn't that bad, except there's a lot of minions here. Blows the flash, you got what you wanted. You got lane pressure, you relieve this. You know Jarvan, there's a chance he might be here. Or maybe you don't know that, but I know that that's a pretty big factor that might happen. And then you go, I think you go to ping it. You're looking for the ping, and then Kassadin kind of walks back up. Then you go back in, knock him up. Adios. Jarvan shows up. He's level 4. And now he's got a huge lead on you. Now he has 13, so you know he did the 6 Raptors or 7, however many Raptors they are. And he counter ganks you. So I'm not saying what you did here is bad, but let's say you had flash up. And let's say that you made Kassadin flash when you got that kill, or when Katarina got that kill, or you got the assist. If you had played that scenario better, this would have gone differently. And these are all like hindsight mistakes I'm pointing out to you because this is the stuff that's going to matter when you're trying to climb. When you climb higher and higher, and I can say this with experience, when you get to like Diamond 2, Diamond 3 MMR, and you will get that if you get to Diamond 3, you start getting D1, D2 players and players who really know how to play this game. You are now behind. Jarvan has successfully out-jungled you twice already. You may have gotten that kill first, but now you gave Kassadin a lead. You're behind in... Well, I guess you're not behind in levels. And I don't mind what you build here, too. I think what you're building is, like, irrelevant to what happens. Although, Cinderhulk, I always think is better. And it's unlucky you lose Sivir here. If I were you at this point now, I would go Raptors, Wolves, hit 6, or you probably hit 6 around Gromp, and then you continue that. But you went bot side. You went bot side, and now Kassadin 6, your window of really ganking him is kind of closing. You're level 5 now, and you see Echo missing. But let's just kind of think about where do you think Jarvan went next. If he had just killed you, your bot camps are probably gone. And it's either that, you can either have someone try to check, or you can go and ward it, or you can make a play somewhere else around the map. And so you clear this blast cone. It procs the ward Echo has, so it was good that you found the ward Echo put out. But now Kassadin probably knows you're around because he saw it. And he's got vision control on the bot side. And in my opinion, this play here was just a really good play by Kassadin and Jarvan. Because you go to gank, Kassadin's not expecting, he jumps away, but you're at that point you're done. Because Kassadin or Jarvan read where you're going to be on the map, he saw the cone being taken, and he immediately just went right to where you were going to be, and now you're dead. And now you're really behind at this point. You just died twice in a row. Kassadin you just gave him 2 kills, and he's in a matchup that favors him. Top lane's in a matchup that favors him, and your Sivir's disconnected. Katarina almost gets him, but now Jarvan, although he flashed, did burn your mid laner's flash, and you're at a disadvantage now. You still don't have your flash backup yet from that level 1, or that your first gank, I mean. So now already, if you like, see what I mean here? You're at a disadvantage in terms of how you're influencing the map. Like, your Cho'Gath's behind because you didn't react enough to a gank, or you should have been there in the first place instead of farming. Or at least making sure that gank didn't happen, I guess. For the Cho'Gath gank, You gave 2 kills to Kassadin because you didn't expect a counter gank from Jarvan. Was that a good play on him? Yes. Could you have done much to prevent that? Maybe. But I think you really need to be playing more around what's going on in the map and how you're going to read your enemy jungler. Now, this here, you timed this blue buff really well in terms of backing, so it doesn't let him steal this. If these guys were really good, if this was LCS, they would have timed when you took this camp and put you even further behind. But you're still not level 6, and in my opinion, if you're going to gank a Kassadin and you're level 5, there's no way of actually executing that since he's level 6, and you have no way of gap closing if you do manage to hit him. So you know that there's that pink because you saw it on the map before, and I think you go and clear it here. Yeah, you go and clear it. And then you kind of... I don't agree with this at all, walking back, because you could have totally kind of avoided it. So now Kassadin and Jarvan in particular know exactly where they are. And keep in mind, these guys are all pushing. And I think it's good that you check in your red buff. Because if you didn't do that, you might have gotten behind. But now you run the risk of really giving up more of your map pressure. And you can go and do like Krugs here, but I would have maybe done a more defensive pink ward. You put in that bush here. I think because these lanes are pushing, they can really find you in the map. And that ends up costing you here. So you go do Scuttle. And you go back, and then boom, Kassadin's on you. And he's so strong at the moment. He's got Catalyst, 4 stacks on his Dark Seal, Boots, and Blasting Wand. You have no MR against this. You don't even have your jungle item yet. So, I mean, it's not like that would have helped a whole lot. And here, you didn't have the knock-up thing, so, like, he just didn't get knocked up and you died. So now, game's over at this point. You're done. Like, there's no way you can reliably come back in this game stronger than the rest of their team. And, I mean, here's the thing. You're also spending a lot of time in the quadrant of the jungle, or, like, the top side of the map. And the top side of the map has a lot of lane priority in terms of shoving. Kassadin's a good matchup into Katarina because, 1, he can kind of deal with a lot of the damage that she deals, and 2, he gets his jump or his blink, and so he can kind of just wave clear way quicker than Katarina can and provide more pressure. So 1, he's going to be invading a lot in terms of how he just killed you there. Echo's the same deal. Cho'Gath doesn't have wave clear, and Jarvan can literally just live in your jungle. And so you are spending a lot of time in the map where you do have a disadvantage. It might be in your best interest to play around bot a little bit more, but, you know, that's just a very hindsight comment. I don't think that what you did, there was a whole lot to prevent in terms of after the decision was made. The decision to go topside wasn't necessarily a terrible one as the decision goes in terms of the decisions you make in this game, but you could have maybe factored that in your beginning of the game and figured that, okay, I got to be careful spending a lot of time here. And you could have taken a different route to avoid this. So at this point now, the only way you can come back is waiting for them to make a lot of mistakes or letting them make plays. And because, like, it's not like your team's super behind, you just died 3 times, so you get a kill here. And turn and Kassadin. I think this is the correct play here, because you end up getting a lot of shutdown gold, and Lulu ends up getting some. Katarina's still, like, not doing anything. And, yeah, sure, that's her fault, and you are losing a lot of map pressure. But you at least, like, got something. You got something. You can keep going forward. You're still even in levels with Jarvan. You're not completely neutered yet. But you've already died 4 times. Kassadin's huge. There's not much you can do at this point in the game besides maybe build MR and hope everything goes well. But at this point, the early decisions you made have already cost your team the game. And not all of these decisions are entirely on you. Like, Cho'Gath could have warded. He could have played safer. You know, this is a good instance here. He just kind of gets caught out and dies. You think about going for the gank, but you anticipate Kassadin or Jarvan coming, and then he just stays. You're 2 levels down. Smart not to fight that. So a lot of this, I'm really into, like, here, you take advantage of Echo overextending, and you grab a free kill. 300 gold, boom. Okay, let's see what you can do with that. Shop, go back, adjust to the game plan here. But at this point, this is where you need to be ready to make that next move. And your bot lane dies. You see your top side's getting invaded. It's it's warded and all of that. You're like playing around, not like bad, but at this point the game's like already done. So if you had taken the steps earlier in the game to try to be more proactive or be more of an influence where you can control the game, then that's where I want to work with, because at this point there's not a whole lot you can't control. You go for a gank here. Let's see. You go for a gank. Echo outplays you. You have no MR because you didn't shop. You should have shopped at least when you got that shutdown. And then you go for a black cleaver, I think. I would have gone for X Drinker because they have 2 huge MR threats. And the game's over at this point. You try to chase kills down. You find one here. You're grouping with your team. You're trying to desperately try to get farms so you get levels. They dive here. And then this was quite unfortunate. Somewhere, yeah, this one here. You're trying to knock up someone and you just kind of get fucked. So at this point, you guys surrender. The game's over. But just keep in mind, it's all about how you read the enemy jungler in games like this. Like, obviously your teammates were picked into a bad matchups. It was winnable, but you guys didn't really take advantage of the situation. So I think really what you need to be focusing on, focus generally getting out of your camera lock, get this camera lock out of here and be looking on the map constantly. I want you to be checking like the enemy laners. I want you to be clicking how they're fighting. What's it look like they're doing? How's their HP? Where are you going to be going based on the information that you have? Where do you think Jarvan's coming? Because if you know he started somewhere, where do you think he's going to be next? And I want you to be not playing like you're autopiloting and you're just going for ganks. You need to be someone who's controlling the map. That's what a jungler does. So for you, Boo, 3 things I want you to work on. That's what we're going to take away. 1, I want you to be focusing on the map when you're jungling, not just the camps. Anticipate where things are going to happen, where the enemy jungler is moving, where he's starting, and how he's going to be influencing the map. I want you to be putting vision and communicating with your teammates around the map, where they're going to be warding, where are they going to show up, etc. And I also want you to be more constructive with your plant, because that game looked like you just kind of played it out without considering much of the details. And I want you to be more mindful of the game that's going on in terms of what you can be doing. Communicate, pinging, warding, anything. You gotta just really get yourself out there, really try to influence and control the map from what you can control. And that's really all I have for you, because this game was more of a jungle principles or like truths rather than little things you do here and there. Around the map, although I was fairly critical of that. So let me know what you think, Boo, if you guys enjoyed this, and if you want to be coached, just email me. I am going to start charging more. Maybe if you guys get it within the next week, I'll do one for free, but I am going to start charging $5 for a VOD review. That's all. And because I do need money, because I'm an unemployed college student, and this is a lot of my time and what I want to get better at. So if you guys are interested in that, email me there. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video. Ta-ta.